What's up, guys? Fuchi here. I've got a special treat for you today. I had the opportunity and privilege to sit down with the creator and cast of a Korean short film called Romance Deadline. Now, the film is about Korean dating culture and why there's a certain expectation to get married at a certain age, and it revolves around the story of main character SangMi, who's a 35-year-old woman who has a wonderful career. However, her parents are pressuring her because she's still single. Throughout the film, she goes on dates both set up by her parents and with guys that she has found through various other ways. So the main theme of the film kind of touches on the Korean dating culture. It talks about how there's an expectation to get married at a certain age, and it also talks about how the younger generation is focusing more on looks and materialism rather than finding true love. So without further ado, I bring you the cast and creator of Romance Deadline.
All right, so we're here with the cast and creator of Romance Deadline. Angela, why don't you go ahead and, hello, can everyone say hello?
Hi.
Guys, hello.
Hello. We're from LA.
Yeah.
LA to Seoul, baby.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hi.
Angela, can you introduce the film and tell us a little bit what it's about?
So hi, my name is Angela Ko. First off, thanks for having us watch TV.
Oh, thanks for joining.
All the way from Korea. So I recently directed and produced this 17-minute rom-com drama. It's more of a drama, short film, named Romance Deadline. And it's in Korean, but it's also subtitled in English. And I made this story because we're living in a society where society tells us when about is the right time to have a boyfriend, girlfriend, when it's the right time to get married, and when it's time to have graduated to college, when it's the right time to get babies. And if it's not, it's considered not normal, you know? So basically, I got inspired by my own upbringing, where everything was pressured by my parents / society. So I decided to tell a story about the most sensitive topic for everyone, the marriage. So this is for those people who are struggling due to pressure and who's been forced to find love and having to marry somebody due to societal pressure. So all the women from all of the globe can relate to this, but especially Koreans like Cindy, Sarah, and Kang and Ian. I'm sure we all, been there, but especially like us, like women. So this is about the single lady that's past 26, or are considered like 노처녀, meaning like we failed the life, we failed the marriage. So we get those terms, 노처녀, which is
Kind of like a spinster.
exactly.
Yeah.
So actually, the spinster was one of the words in the movie I couldn't understand.
It means 노처녀. You would rather, yeah, yeah.
It could be spinster or / old cat lady.
Yeah.
It's,
Okay.
different kind of terms.
I think
Synonyms.
It's like an 1800s English term,
Okay. I think I've heard the term Christmas cake. I think that's what Japan uses.
Oh.
Really?
Christmas cake.
Yeah, they because I guess after Christmas they put the cake in the closet or something, where it's like not desired anymore. So yeah, it's
Wow.
just what I've heard. Speaking about the cast, can each of you introduce yourself and the role that you played in the film, starting with you, Cindy?
Okay. Hi, I am Cindy, and I play the role of SangMi in Romance Deadline. And SangMi is the protagonist in the film, and she's in mid 30s, and she's very successful in her career, but her love life is not that successful. So she gets pressured by her parents and also the society, and she's questioning herself if there is a true love.
Okay, thank you. Kang, what role do you play?
So I play the role of the doctor, the very self-absorbed, rude, and kind of just oblivious Dr. Kim Min-soo. And I think one of the first dates she goes on because of the pressure she gets from her mom. And as Angela mentioned earlier, in our culture, arranged marriages are still a thing. So she finds me to meet with her daughter. We have a date, and I'll save you the details. I don't want to spoil it, but it's kind of like a reality check for Cindy. As in, you know, I might look great on paper, especially to the parents, but that doesn't necessarily translate into compatibility to the lady. So yeah.
Okay. Does that also happen in the U.S. as well, like within Korean
Yeah,
groups?
I know of people, actually even me, when I was, you know, pushing a certain age, my dad even thought about, you know, I can call somebody, we can find somebody in Korea and bring her over. Like, so these arranged marriages happen, and I didn't get too much pressure, but it was definitely on the table. And obviously I didn't.
You haven't tried it?
Yeah, I was not cool with it. So, but yeah, it is definitely, I don't know if it's still prominent, but it is still happening.
Thank you. Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah. I play Julia, who's the receptionist at SangMi, the main character's office. And I'm kind of like the true American, like fun party girl, outgoing. And she really contrasts with one of the other workers at the office who's so Korean, you know? It's a really good dichotomy for SangMi to explore.
Thank you. And Ian?
Yes, hi, my name is Ian Oh, and I'm playing role of personal trainer Lee Jung-min. I'm looking for a woman or customer or money. I don't know, but yeah, I'm
Three
still
good
like,
things.
yeah, different things. Like I'm looking for right love, like true love. But he even don't know what is a true love. So he just feel about the money, new car, like my body, like all those things, you know. But he don't know, he doesn't know what is the love and how to do love with women, like, you know. Yeah, so very
I
interesting
noticed
case.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, so throughout the film that we see like a traditional love versus like focusing on looks and having things like a shallow love. We see that throughout the film.
Now I've created a couple of questions for each of you. Why don't we start off with Cindy?
Yes.
Have your character in the film is being pressured to get married by a certain age, but how about in real life? Were you pressured in real life to get married by a certain age? And at what age did that begin?
Well, ironically, unlike SangMi, I got married a little young. I got married when I was 23.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't get any pressure by my parents, but instead they were really sad and they were worried about me getting married so young.
You're the opposite treatment.
Because the Korean society think the ideal age of getting married is between 26 to 30. So if it's before 26, they're like, oh, you're not ready. If it's after 30, oh, you have to get married, you're too late.
Obviously.
Was that like, were they pressuring you not to get married then, or were they just kind of worried that you were a little bit too young?
They were just worried. They didn't put any pressure. They were good parents.
Oh, okay.
They supported me. But sure, the pressure I felt from SangMi is the pressure that everybody can get, not from marriage. It could be from career. It could be from anything. You should have a kid when you get married. You should have a house when you're in 30s or 40s. You know, all this kind of pressure that people can feel. So it was easy to play the SangMi's character.
And just so maybe people that aren't so familiar with Korean culture understand, is this pressure from the parents, is it coming from a bad place? Or where is this pressure coming from?
I'm sure it's coming from a good heart.
Angela, you're right. Like the parents just want what's best for you. And in Korea, looking like you're successful is how they deem you're doing well in life and how they make sure they're taking care of you. So I think it's just pressure to live up to societal standards.
Ian.
Yes.
Have you ever been on a blind date?
Oh.
Several?
Yes, but just once.
Okay.
And there was the first and the last date, like blind date for me.
First and last.
Well, you know, I got her pictures and number and first, and when I talked with her through the messenger, it went like really well, and we got along pretty well, and I liked her voice, personality, and you know, etc. and my expectation grow like bigger and bigger and bigger.
Mm.
But then when I finally got to meet her like in personally, my expectation, or like let her say my fantasy,
Mm.
was totally destroyed. Totally. It was yeah, it wasn't her problem. She's totally hot, but it was more about me having too high expectation in my like imagination.
Mm.
So immediately I deleted the app, and then and that was it. Immediately.
So are we talking about online dating or more like someone
Some-
introduced you?
I was talk about the online dating or like date app. Also, we call blind dating too. But I never do Korean people say son.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I was
Which is like arranged
Yeah,
marriage or
arranged.
arranged meeting.
What about sogeting?
소개팅 many times. I can't remember, I need more finger. Yeah.
Okay.
Count your toes.
Well, but personally, I usually do talking first, like, go and talking to her first, except like waiting and then, like introduce myself, all those things. Just go and hi, my name is Ian. I'm cool.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, whatever. Okay.
All right. And is it true that you're very cool?
Oh, I hope
No.
so.
We'll ask her. Cindy,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts about how dating works in Korean culture, and do you think it's better than how it works in the US? Now, before you answer, I mentioned a term just a moment ago, sogeting. I want to just briefly explain that to the viewers. Sogeting is a Korean word. It's actually a mix of soge, which means introduction, and dating. That's where the ting comes from, which is obviously dating. So it's kind of like introduction dating, aka blind dates. So just wanted to have the viewers have a clear understanding of what that is. So yeah, what are your thoughts about how dating works in Korean culture, and do you think it's better, or pros and cons? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think I cannot say which system is better because I feel like they're both similar.
Mhm.
Because we don't really know who that person is until we actually meet.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I think it's both systems can work or cannot work. Depends on how we take the relationship seriously and carefully.
Okay. And Sarah?
I think that in Korean culture, there's a lot more blind dating for sure, and a lot more pressure to meet, other people in a certain class or like who have a certain prestige about them.
Mm.
I think in America, we more focus, I think both cultures definitely focus on looks, but in America, you have to have the personality too, and you have to display that right away. In Korean culture, you want to make sure you're compatible, like compatibility class-wise and like beauty, wise is a big thing. And I think it means a lot in dating culture, like to have a certain prestige about you or a certain societal like success. And dating in Korea, I think is something more you aspire to, like it's something that's all around you and you want to find like your match. And in America, I think it's a little bit more accepted that like women can be alone now, or like you need to be, it's sometimes better off for you to be alone for yourself,
Right.
And even when I was like 13 and my cousin was 9 years older than me, she was 21 and she hadn't had a serious boyfriend. And I was like, oh my God, like, are you serious? That's crazy. Because my Korean family was like, oh, like you should already have prospects, But I was like, when I was 21, I did not have a boyfriend and I did not want one, And that was okay. So I
Right.
think there's not really a better system. I think they're two different systems.
Mhm.
I think Koreans are more specific about who you can date, like Korean families. But I think it's just about finding your match, however you can do it.
Right. There's also kind of like this expectation that and that this is not just from the parents, but from kind of everyone, that you always need to be in a relationship. And even from like friends, it's like, oh, you're single. I have a friend I could introduce you. Do you want to meet them? Like through sogeting. And it's like, or if you say, I don't have a girlfriend, I don't have a boyfriend, they're kind of like, why?
Yeah,
Like this
definitely.
expectation that it's something that you must have.
Yeah, I definitely think you're right. Like being introduced by a friend is really popular in Korea. It's like, oh, like let me help you, you know? And like that's why I think with your family, they always want to like help you be happy or have what seems like happiness for society. Like your aunts are always like, oh, you want to meet someone? Here, let me help you. And then you go on like a weird blind date, you know?
Right. However, recently, the past few years, some of the online dating services have entered the Korean market and they're going hard to try to get users. Tinder, for example, had a massive marketing campaign with commercials on TV and in subway stations. And I'm going to use that as a segue to ask, and this question's open for everyone, what are some of the pitfalls of online dating nowadays? And do you have any personal experiences?
I wish I had one experience from Tinder.
Well, I
You
think
still can.
yeah, but I think one of the biggest things is people can present themselves however they want. And boys, y'all don't take up-to-date pictures. Let me just tell you that. You
Well,
know?
girls don't either sometimes. I think it goes both ways.
Well, it's just like you can fish for what you want, but you never know until you meet them, you know?
Yeah, I'm just curious, like, when you say not up-to-date pictures, they've gained a lot of weight, or they're
No,
using a
I
lot
just
of filters, or
like they're like dark pictures and they're always with like friends, and then you have like one and you like, and the ones with friends you're like, which one is he? Is he the one with abs or is he the other one, you know? Some guys use like the pictures with dogs to get more like matches, you know? I just think that girls take more pictures all the time, and so they're a little more up to date and they can filter.
I think I read somewhere there's like there's an actual like formula, like what kind of pictures to put up if you to attract, you know, certain type of people. So I'm currently in a relationship right now. I actually met her at a bar, so it was the old-fashioned way. But the girlfriend before that, I actually met her on OkCupid. And to be honest, and I was with her for about 3-4 years. So, and that was actually the first time I joined online dating. Like I was kind of against it. I'm kind of a old soul in a young body, so to speak. So I didn't really believe in the online dating stuff, but and didn't have much luck. You know, like there was always that catfishing thing, the scare of that, you know, and then Sarah mentioned like pictures don't match the girl or the person sometimes. So I ran into that. So I feel like I got lucky with my previous girlfriend, especially meeting her through online. But yeah, I mean, people have different experiences. Like I hear about NBA players who, you know, or even anyone who travels a lot, has a lot of money, famous people especially, like as soon as they land, like they're getting like Tinder notices. I've heard stories like wherever they go, they have like a stable, so to speak. So, you know, it's yeah, I think it's a different experience for everyone, much like life is, you know. So, but yeah, that's my experience with online dating.
Angie?
Which, by the way, I deleted all
she's
my.
calling Angela out.
Oh my god, you guys are attacking me. So I would say I'm proud of all the guys, because most of the apps, dating apps, they have to be the one that says something first, because it's a traditional thing to do. But as for Bumble, I hear that girls have to be the one that have to say something first in order for the guys to talk back. So I remember having like the thought like what to say first, because I don't want to say like weird stuff, you know.
The intro
How
is
weird.
Like hi, like what do we say, like. So I remember having like the hard time like coming up with talk. And yeah, I agree with the catfishing thing. And it's online dating is more about, like Sarah said, how you want to be presented and how you would like to be seen by the other people. So you talk about, oh, I'm a outgoing person. You don't say, oh, I'm introverted as hell person, you know, for example.
So you lie.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's how to succeed on online dating. Lie.
You're not gonna say we're ugly girls.
I think
God bless those filters.
Yeah.
if you just use the app just to meet more people and just to have fun, it will just end up like that. But if you take it more seriously, then you might end up being in a serious relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so last time I've deleted all my apps, but I remember there were people I would come across who just straight up, I am here to hook up, and that's it. If you're not 6'2", if you're not this, don't even message me. And on the other side, it'll be like, I'm only here for a serious relationship. I'm not here for hookups. So people, the looks they can lie about, and maybe their jobs and their status or whatever. But as far as what they're looking for, I have come across a lot of honest profiles.
Mm.
Is
Yeah.
it like 50-50, like looking for a relationship?
I can't really put a number to it, but I've seen the most I've seen was girls like, if you're under 6'2", do not DM me. Like that's the most thing I've seen.
6'2"?
Yeah, or 6'2" or 6. If you're not under 6 foot, don't even bother. You know. So,
Girls do care about heights.
yeah, and especially the ones who are there just for a good time. They know what they want. Yeah, but even the ones that wanted a serious relationship, they have their physical requirements or prerequisites, so to speak.
It's more than audition things.
Yeah.
Right.
They're applying for a job.
Sorry to get
Put
booked.
the salary on it.
I feel like it's getting worse and worse nowadays because more and more people are more and more people are more educated than before, like graduate school, PhD, medical students, stuff like that. So I guess because of that, we have higher standard than before. Which is pretty bad because just like the film, like SangMi, because she's like a professional career going on, so she thinks that, oh, because I'm a lawyer, I should be able to get the hottest guy on earth. I should be able to get the guy with the car, something like that. You know, she has that kind of unrealistic view.
But not me, maybe the people around me will.
Yes. Yeah, and because of that, SangMi has to, SangMi struggles to find what she actually likes at first.
Yeah, I think some of the. Go ahead, Ian.
I'm sorry, just real quick. What I loved about the script was going off of, to add to Angela's point right there, is you do see both sides, right? Like what should be the right guy doesn't end up being the right guy. What could be the wrong guy ends up being the right guy. Like, so there's no black and white, and in real life, obviously. And I think the way Angela, kind of wrote out the script and how had the story unravel shows that. Very much so, especially with the culture dynamics, SangMi's career. There's another guy, Scott, who's kind of like the player. So she did a really good job of kind of portraying all the different types of guys, So I thought that was really cool.
So the reason why I made SangMi was 35 was she doesn't belong to the olden, age group, nor the younger group. So she's in between. So she knows the both sides, and she gets pressured by her younger group of friends, and she gets pressured by the older groups. So she's in a tough, situation for sure.
Poor SangMi.
Yeah. So she kind of wants to do the Tinder type, but she knows at the same time it's not right. So she experiences the both sides.
Some people, especially Western viewers of the movie, might think that the dating system in the West is superior. They may see the film and say, like, why would SangMi's mom push her like that? Like, what's wrong with her? Or like, what's wrong with the Korean system? But what are some advantages, do you think, of the Korean dating system compared to the Western system?
I think your parents, because of the arranged process, they kind of filter out the quote unquote losers, right? Like if they don't have a job, if they don't have, if they don't have certain prerequisites, they're not even going to get set up. You know what I mean? So whereas here, it's kind of like a free for all. So, the girls have to go through some frogs before they get to their prince. The irony is what the parents think the prince is, maybe the frog to the girl, like what I kind of alluded to earlier. So, yeah, I think the advantage is, I guess, status of the partner in a way, like I don't know, like a class or a status.
The class is important in Korea, for sure.
It is really important.
I believe it's it's always good to listen to elders who has more experience
Mhm.
because of they have lived more years of reality. So they might know more stuff than us.
Mm.
So it's sometimes good to listen some of them, not all of them.
Yeah, take it with a grain of salt.
And I think King is right. It's really hard to date in the US. Like there's so many different people and opportunities and that's why these dating apps come about because like you don't know who to meet anymore or how to meet other people anymore, you know? It's just like you're bombarded with so much stimulus that it's really hard. And I think in Korea, they pride themselves on having like a connection or knowing who that person's mother is or something like that. And even though like it might be misplaced and they might value not the right things sometimes, they like the heart of it is that they want you to be with someone that they can also condone as like a good person or having a good future.
Mm.
So there is a website called 결혼의 duo. Have you ever heard of it? 결혼의 duo.
Dio?
Will you marry me? Is that the translation?
It is.
So what it does is that we can pull up the resumes on both girls, guys. So
Mhm.
you compare and contrast how much their parents have one side and the other side. So if it matches to a certain degree, people say it's a good match. And there's a lesser chance of getting divorced later on. That's what Koreans believe, like my mom generation would believe. I personally kind of agree, kind of don't. Yeah, I don't know actually if it's true or not.
One thing I did want to add real quick is so in Korea the arranged marriage and all that isn't really for the daughter or son. It's for the family, the
Mm.
future of the family, the legacy. So think of it like a business merger. You know what I mean? They don't want you to marry some guy, you know, so the parents should have money. You know, the guy should have a good job. Their what's their family status? So it's like, it's basically like a business merger. And the marriage isn't for you alone. It's for the entire family and your
Mm.
grandkids and pretty much the legacy of the two families.
And I
So-
grew up like listening to my mom and grandma saying like, "Oh, love, you know, if you live with the guy, the feeling grows.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
you can
Are
grow."
you guys agree with that?
At some point, you have to have some kind of effort to keep that love.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, relationships are hard, man. It's work on both sides, compromises on both sides.
It is.
And you know, obviously we're progressing, but in the Korean culture, I still believe it is more a patriarchy. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like the man is the breadwinner, the woman is the housewife. And again, although we're progressing, that cultural foundation is still there. So that, which means you don't have to be that compatible. You don't have to like each other that much. You just got to make the marriage work, which,
Mm.
you know, we know how that ends up. You know, they say marry your best friend, which is a very good rule of thumb, I think, because that's how you make the relationship grow and all that. So
And I feel like in my mom's generation, they're in their late 50s and stuff. They think that marrying by like 35 is the norm. If not, like I said, it's 노처녀 or 노총각. You know, they only care about our daughters or sons not turning out to be 노총각 or 노처녀, rather than do they actually love the partners? Or are they marrying the love of their lives? They don't care about that. Their focus is more on, oh, is my daughter getting married by certain time so that other people don't see, my daughter as
right, exactly. Which kind of alludes to what we were talking about social status, you know.
Again, I think it comes from a good place. You know, they know that if they don't get married by a certain age, that means they become less desirable in the culture. And as they get older, it will become harder and harder to find someone, right? And the older you get, the options becoming not as good as before. And I guess they're just looking out for their lineage. They want to make sure that they have grandchildren as well.
Exactly.
So I think it's coming from a good place.
And it's tougher for women because they do strongly believe that women have a biological clock. So they definitely do get it tougher. They do definitely get more pressure,
Right.
which is unfortunate.
Did you guys know there's a TV show that came out and that's really popular right now in Korea? It's called 혼자 살아야 한다.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like we
I
can live
don't know.
alone, or we,
나 혼자 산다?
yeah, 나 혼자 산다. Like
나
live,
혼자 산다.
yeah. So it shows like the girls that are living by themselves, because they're wanting that life. But on the other hand, we see the mother figure, 잔소리, deadly
Mhm.
about their daughters, like how they're concerned about their daughters not going to get married and stuff.
Let's change gears and talk about the actual filming of the film. What were some of the hardships and fun times that you guys had when making this film?
I don't know. I feel like as a cast, we all have very like mellow personalities. Except for me, I'm loud. But like,
You'll be
we
so
get
happy
along
to
really
hear.
well.
Well, like I think we had a really great time, perfect time range for the COVID-19. Like we just finished it and then it happens come. So yeah, it was very thanks everyone, and then thank you Angie also, because many film they has many problem at scheduling, and they just got canceled. They just disappear. But anyway. Angie, thank you for finishing this film. And then my role was fun. We don't have not much time because the place lengthed time by 12 and by 12. So yeah, I was a little rushed for shooting, but other than it's perfect. Like actor, crews are awesome. Thank you.
You have to get up really early, huh? Yeah.
Oh yeah, right.
Tell us your beauty secret about how to take care of, yourself.
Well, yeah. Another things, my role is a personal trainer, so I did 100 push-up right before the shooting. I'm trying to make a muscle a little bit more.
Get the pump.
Get the pump, but it's not shown that anymore.
Oh, you hide it everywhere.
Right.
Yes.
How about Fuch? What do you think about romance having the deadline? What do you think about that?
I think it makes sense, considering the fact that it depends if you want kids or not. If you want kids, then there is a deadline. There's a biological clock clicking in that sense that you would have to get married by a certain age. If you don't want kids, then no, I don't think there should be a deadline. It's a little bit interesting in Korean culture in the sense that, like in the US culture, you don't have to get married by a certain age. So you can by mid-30s or by 40s, you can find, I don't want to say good people.
Except for girls still have the biological clock.
Yeah, but I meant because there's not that pressure to get married, there are more people that didn't decide to get married based on choice. And therefore you can find a lot of, good, interesting people at that age as well. But in Korea,
People in the same boat. Right?
Yeah, in Korea, there's that expectation that you need to get married by a certain age, no matter what, even if you're settling. So then when you get to like people that are single in their 40s and 50s, obviously there are some good people there. I know some people in their 40s that are good, but then there's also a lot of
Bad people.
I'm not gonna say bad people, but it's kind of like, oh, that's why you're not.
Cat ladies.
Yeah, exactly, cat ladies. That's the reason why. So
Yeah, people say there's some reasons why that they don't have girlfriends or boyfriends.
So it's because there's like that. It's not encouraged to have a choice. That when you get to a certain point, then it seems like there's less pickings.
What do you think about the people in Korea that are judgmental towards those people that don't have girlfriends or boyfriends?
I don't think so. I actually have an experience with one of my friends. She's trying to get her sister-in-law married, and the parents were pushing her. And then my friend was also pushing her. and she had already been divorced once, and she didn't really want to get married again, and she has a pretty good career. And they went to duo, and they were kind of disgusted by what the manager of the company was saying. They're like, oh, we're very exclusive, so if you go on, like, we could promise you the dates, but as a female, you need to care about your looks, you need to dress well, you need to wear accessories, and because of your age, you need to have lower standards. And then so it was more focused on that kind of like old traditional style of what makes an attractive female. But then they were also brutal against the men. Like, apparently, if you're short and bald, you can't even join the service. You can't even you can't even pay to find dates if you're short and bald.
Which is not applicable.
Yeah. So that system actually, once they take a look at your look, for females, they take a look at your looks and education, and men, they take a look at your height and how much money you have. They actually rank you like A, B, C, D, and then they match you with people within the same ranking. So it's pretty ruthless.
Yeah, self-telling too, Jesus.
Have you ever heard that if you don't get married by a certain time, you're gonna be ending up with the bald men or something like that?
Oh,
Did your
yeah.
mom ever say that?
Hey, what's wrong with bald men?
You're not bald.
Not talk about the balls anymore.
Because my mom would always say that, but she was also worried. Like, if I had a boyfriend like way too young, it was also like a worrying factor. What's wrong with you? You have a boyfriend already? That type.
Yeah.
But if I don't have a boyfriend now, what's wrong with you?
You can't win. I'm just saying. You can never win with your mom and dad, and that's a fact.
If I had a boyfriend that's not up to their standard, what's wrong with you? So they think that there's something wrong with me either way.
If you get married young, the parents, no mother, expect the son-in-law has to be really wealthy. Like,
Yeah.
then they'll be not worried to get married early.
And my cousin asked me, like, why don't you have a boyfriend? As if there's something wrong with me. And if I say this is a reason being that I don't have, then she feels like that I'm making some excuse. You know what I mean? When it's not an excuse at all. You know what I mean? They think that I'm just justifying, like telling myself it's okay. It's okay to be like single,
Yeah, marriage is something that should never be rushed. I hope people know that already. I'm just saying.
In Korea, another thing that's different from American style is that we don't live together before marriage. So I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Korea has one of the highest divorce rate too, as well as America. So I don't know which one is the right way.
I guess that's an interesting point, because I think from a Western culture, if our parents push us to do something, we just be like, I'm not doing it, and that's kind of it. Why is it that it's a little bit different? Like, and I think that may also be something that some Westerners might find hard to find, like, why, like, just tell your parents to be quiet or don't answer their calls or ignore them. Why is there so much stress?
Because
are more polite.
That's one way to put it.
I think in like any Asian culture, respect and like respecting your elders is just completely integrated into the society.
Yeah,
like
huge.
in Korea, even in the language, like you use honorifics. So if you're talking to someone older than you, you talk to them, like you add a certain little morpheme on the end of your word in order to signify respect. So I think it's just has been in the culture forever. And it's just like in America, we talk so informally compared to other cultures. And I think that influences how we speak too,
Mm-hmm.
I think in Korean culture, like parents are helping their getting married, like mostly parents trying to help their marriage cost, or like buying a house or buying a car or something. So they have authority of their like some kind of a life, so they can control a little bit. But here, America, parents after 18 years old, like they just kicked out outside, like
Yeah.
living by yourself, and then so there is a good things and bad things. But
Mm.
Korean people thinks that's why they're trying to a little bit controlling, or like interrupting, or you know they can have a responsibility.
And in Korea, once you get married, the wife is expected to move in with the in-laws. Like we all
Right.
live in one big house, or that's the tradition,
Mm.
So I don't like so go like I talked about how it's not just about the man and wife, it's about the family. So the parents are going to want to choose a girl they like as well, because they're going to be living with them, immediately. So
Mhm.
And
yeah, a lot of old school traditions, values.
yeah, in Korea, like listening to parents is the only way and the right way. And that's how I grew up. Listening to my parents saying that and
Mm.
having me to repeat that. So even my cousins, they never lived outside of Korea. They also think that that's the only way. They think that marriage is one of the things that you got to listen to your parents, because pleasing your parents is basically happiness for them.
Mhm.
But I think the other way. My happiness is my own. So they think that I have no morals from my parents' perspective.
Mm.
They think
Yeah,
that America did this to you.
that's not yet. Well, it's probably did, but that also doesn't just apply for this romance situation. It applies for almost every aspect. Like, oh, don't do this job, or don't live
Oh
abroad, or
yeah,
don't do this. So it's like,
absolutely. Career, what you study, it's yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we are all in the entertainment field, and parents are not too happy. Ian, do your parents know that you're doing acting and they're
Oh,
supportive of the idea?
recently, yeah, she knows, but like I started acting when I was 13, and then
Mm.
13 to 16 in Korea, like 13 to 16, she doesn't know. Like even I'm showing my drama every day on KBS,
Oh.
but she doesn't know. Yeah, she doesn't know I'm I'm on the screen.
Wow.
Yeah, and then after 3 years, she asked about where is money. Where is all the money?
The important questions.
But the money, yeah, all the money, my management took that. Yeah,
Jesus.
Mm.
like when I was 15, I think it's like 중학교 3학년, I took a ramen advertisement, and then my management pay me $3 of the ramen.
That's it?
That's it. $3 of ramen. That's it.
Oh my.
That was
Yeah.
gonna be the punchline for my joke, but it was actual reality. You only got paid in ramyun. Raw.
Cindy, did you have hard time telling your parents about your acting?
Well, my parents are very supportive right now.
Oh, they're not right now.
Yeah, because like even since when I was young, I worked hard. I did all my duty. I was the good daughter. I was the good daughter-in-law. I was the good mother. I was the good wife. That's what I think. But yeah. So now, I think all my family appreciates me doing what I want to do right now, since I've already sacrificed some of my time and moments. Yeah,
Mhm.
so they're very supportive right now. So that's really thankful, and I'm very thankful that finally I have my time to do what I really want, and it's working.
When you were playing the role of Sang-mi, did you think that there were some similarities and differences?
Yeah, I think we both have a pure heart. Like, Sangmi seeks the true love. She believes there is a true love, and she finds the happiness not in the materialistic, like wealth, or by looks, or what other people think or other people say. She wants to find the happiness, the from heart. I try to find my happiness from just from the normal life what I have right now.
How about the rest? Were there any similarities between the rest of you guys between the character you played and how you are in real life?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'm like a young 20s, fun, outgoing, you know. And like I think what's funny about my character is she shows you just how personal Americans can get. And like Koreans, very much, they're like very polite, and Americans kind of, we're already friends, you know, like I'm just gonna talk to you this way and hang out with you. And she kind of is that American in the work environment that's like, all right, what's going on? What are we doing? Tell me about your personal life.
My character was kind of the opposite. So I'm playing the doctor who's very egotistical, his shit don't stink kind of deal. I am very much in real life kind of like the shy, nice guy. So it was a different dynamic, but it was fun. It's definitely fun being something you're not, and you know, trying different things. And what was great was Cindy's reactions were so authentic. I just kind of rode her. I just kind of let her lead the dance. You know, I would say what I was supposed to say, and it was the improvisation, kind of just feeling each other. That part was really fun. But yeah, as far as characters go, you know, I have been known to be the nice guy, the shy guy. Definitely not what you see in Dr. Kim Min-soo.
How about Ian? Do you think that the personal trainer guy was the same as yourself in real life? To a certain
Well, I think it's like totally opposite me. Like I'm not too picky. You know, like I don't really care of myself that much. In Korea, we talk about, you know, blood type. I'm a yeah, you know, triple A, you know, A but triple. So I'm more think about other person, other, you know, other people. Like if I were Jungmin, I'm not gonna treat Sangmi like that. And then especially, you know, I don't look other girls in front of the Sangmi. You know what I mean? Yeah, so totally different.
Why should we watch the film, though?
I think it's a good look into Korean culture. I think it also says stuff about American culture too. And I think it actually just, one of the reasons I really wanted to be in it is because it represents like a niche part of American, California, and Los Angeles culture, like Koreans who are like a big part of LA and a big part of America that we just don't see on film. And I'm really excited to be part of it just because, you know, more representation for people that look like me in a culture I've been a part of, and it's a big part of me along with my American side too.
I believe it takes a difficult topic, kind of a nuisance of a topic, and it tells a story, tells that topic in a very enjoyable, kind of comical way. It's very impactful where you see both sides of the culture. Like Sarah said, it kind of meshes the two cultures together in a way where everyone can digest it. So it's a romantic comedy, and it lives up to it.
I would say this film isn't, you know, about like whom she's gonna be meeting, that she's gonna find like fairy tale with. It's more about finding herself, what she wants in life. Is she gonna like want anybody even? So I made this film so, you know, so I can inspire people that we should more focus on like the pure love rather than, you know, getting swayed by other people. You gotta get married by this time, you gotta have baby this time, stuff like that. So, and I think it's okay to take time, even if it takes long.
I recommend to who has a daughter, American, we call like Ise or half Korean, half American, like Korean American parents, because they really struggle with that mind, Korean culture and American culture. So hopefully this film more understand how they think about it, and then how they struggle about their life and date with somebody.
Where can we watch the film?
For now, it's submitted to a bunch of film festivals. So one of them allowed us to watch it for 24 hours, which was in Toronto. But other than that, we're waiting on, you know, hearing back from the other film festivals. So we'll give you a shout out. There's something
Okay.
to share with you guys.
We can post it online.
Yeah, Instagram.
Yeah,
People
absolutely.
can follow us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where
So
can we?
Instagram wise, we have it on at sign and romance deadline.
Okay, so at Romance Deadline. Where can we find the rest of you guys on social media or elsewhere?
If you go to the Romance Deadline Instagram, you can find all of us tagged in photos and get behind the scene looks.
You gotta do some work, guys. You gotta search for them on the Romance Deadline Instagram
Yeah.
page, and you'll be able to find everyone there. I think this would probably be a good time to wrap things up. So I would like to thank all of you guys for joining me today and having
Thank
this
you,
discussion
Michael.
about the film. Of course, go watch the film if you have the opportunity. This is all to the viewers. And to sum things up, romance shouldn't have a deadline. But as Kang said, don't be a frog. Thank you so much. All the
Thank you,
Instagram
Michael.
tags will be down below, as well as the tag to go to the film. So the film's Instagram page and all their links associated with that. So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you,
you.
Thank you.
Michael Erasmo.
Bye.